For someone else, maybe 12 hours just really isn't enough.
To the game's biggest shortcoming, in my opinion, its length and its scope.
The one thing that might turn some people off is the fact that it is about 14 to 15 hours even if you explore thoroughly.
Yes, a sizable amount of reviewers and gamers have stated that Resident Evil Requiem's length is an issue. Resident Evil Requiem averages at around 12 hours according to how long to beat, and I can definitely understand why that short runtime could be an issue for many. However, I share a completely different opinion. I actually think that the story being only 12 hours is actually a good thing, and after finishing the game, I think it benefits quite a lot from having that short runtime. If you're new to this channel and enjoy gaming commentaries, I'd appreciate your subscription, as 99% of you watching aren't subscribed yet. To be fair, almost all Resident Evil games fall into the same range of length, with some slightly longer and some slightly shorter. So why is this an issue now? Well, ever since AAA games prices jumped to $70, gamers' expectations have increased. Obviously, the thought is, if I'm paying more, then I expect more value back. But what is being understood nowadays is that value doesn't necessarily mean length or size. Value actually means quality, and Resident Evil Requiem delivers a pure quality experience. The story benefits from a shorter length the most. Every single hour of Requiem is full of intense horror. The pacing is excellent here. I felt like the story was moving at a perfect pace, switching back between Leon and Grace consistently as we discover and learn more about the story. Also, ending each sequence with a cliffhanger added so much to the tension. Having a shorter runtime allowed them to make every second matter. And no, it never felt rushed. This is the story the devs wanted to tell, and they told it in a way that both balanced gameplay and story perfectly, without obviously overstaying its welcome or adding unnecessary plot points to increase runtime. The story in the end comes to a natural conclusion, and it feels satisfying and earned. Nothing feels rushed here, and that's what I really appreciate. Now, a shorter runtime also makes the gameplay so much better. Both Leon and Grace have great gameplay, with Leon being the more able action-based character and Grace having the horror sequences. Every interaction feels handcrafted. Having creatures and bosses chase after you all feel unique and different. They really got creative here. I think if the game was longer, that level of detail and care would be lost. Each character basically gets almost 6 hours of runtime, and I do think that if the game went on for longer, the balance they have between Leon and Grace would be gone, with one character, likely Leon, outshining Grace, as her gameplay isn't necessarily the deepest, and if we had a longer runtime, I would say her gameplay would start to feel repetitive. The gameplay itself is absolutely excellent, smooth, and satisfying. Shooting enemies feels bloody and brutal. Guns have reasonable recoil and realistic sounds, but it's not the deepest system. In the end, it's a horror shooter and stealth-based game, so if the game had went on for more, I'm not sure what more improvements they could have made. It feels like they maximized the potential from both characters and their upgrades. If it was longer, we'd start feeling that we are getting more of the same. So I'm glad that by the time I rolled credits, I felt like I maximized and experienced each character's gameplay. To add on, a shorter runtime allows for more speedruns and challenge runs, something us the Resident Evil fans love to do and experiment with. In the end, I'm a gamer that absolutely pushes for quality over quantity. I will always take a 12-hour story over a 25-hour bloated one. The best games in the industry have shorter runtimes, from The Last of Us to Dead Space to nearly all the Resident Evil games that came before Requiem as well. Let's take Ubisoft for example. While they don't make horror games, they used to make shorter single-player, well-packaged games, and we used to praise Ubisoft back in the day. But now, nearly all their games share the same complaints, from bloated stories to massive dull worlds. I just appreciate that devs made and designed a game that perfectly fits their vision, and not a game that stretches and bloats their vision into a tedious experience. Resident Evil Requiem is excellent, and lots of that praise comes from its runtime, delivering a well-packaged, intense experience that rarely gives you breathing room, and that's exactly how a horror game should make you feel.